How about if you're not capable of voting because you need somebody else to help you speak, you can't be in office. Well, after falling multiple times this year and freezing up just a few months ago in front of a congressional press conference, Mitch McConnell is back at it again, this time at a Chamber of Commerce meeting where Mitch McConnell is asked if he's going to run again in 2026 and freezes up. I'm going to be clear. My goal is always to be extremely neutral and unbiased as much as that's possible in politics. It's very hard. And I just want to be clear here. Ultimately, it is our responsibility as voters to stop voting in the oldest of our generations. Now, that does mean motivating younger people to run for office. And yeah, the way the political system is designed makes it harder for newer people to get their names in. People like Mitch McConnell have name recognition, so they end up getting by default a lot more votes than somebody who's new in an area like in Mitch McConnell's state. So my take here is definitely there are going to be a lot of calls for age limits or cognitive tests or otherwise. In my opinion, it probably really needs some kind of clear health screening that the voters can be provided with to say, hey, look, there's some early signs here of dementia. So far it looks like they're still capable, but I think voters really need to be made aware of all potential health issues, and then they could make that decision, which would then hopefully motivate more competition. But let's take a look at this freeze, and then we'll go back to the first freeze, and we'll talk a little bit more about as well what's previously happened here.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
Yep.
okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
So it's obviously devastating to see something like this happen. Nobody, wants to be critical of people in their old age. The problem, obviously, is these are people leading our country and making decisions based on our country. Diane Feinstein, who's, in frail health, was actually called out by the New York Times. Listen to this, okay? Some of the other representatives and people like Mr. Hawley are saying, look, I voted for different leadership. But listen to this. Diane Feinstein, Democrat of California, 90, is in frail health and with memory issues, making it difficult for her to function alone in the Senate. On Thursday, her colleague, Senator Pat Murray of Washington, had to help her when she appeared confused about a vote on a military spending bill. Just say aye, Mrs. Murray told her as she began a muddled speech. What's the point if you're just a puppet to be in a leadership position or to be a representative of the country? It is incumbent, though, upon the voter to have the right information about these individuals' health, so that way the voter can make the appropriate decision and vote for somebody else. I highly doubt with over 70, actually it might be, it's over 100. It's over 100 people in Congress who are over 70 years old. I highly doubt we're going to get cognitive tests or, any kind of these elevated things. But I do think these health, there should be some kind of health disclosure, rather than sort of like a, hey, if you don't pass this cognitive test, you're not allowed in. Rather than that, it's like, let's disclose everything that's known and needs to be known about your health, and then let the voter decide. That way there's no arbitrary limit, once your ability is under X, you're not allowed to lead anymore. Mostly because I actually don't think people are going to vote for that. Because they're going to be like, oh, shit, my cognitive ability might go under that soon. I don't want to vote for that because then I'm going to get kicked out of here and not have a job anymore, right? So you need to have something that they're willing to vote for. Otherwise, you're just not going to vote for this. It's very frustrating to see this, and it's also very sad. But it's not just Feinstein, it's just not McConnell, it's also Biden. In fact, McConnell allegedly spoke with Joe Biden and told Joe Biden that he got sandbagged. I was like, yeah, I got sandbagged. That is a reference to Joe Biden tripping on a sandbag at an Air Force event. But the problem is this is repeatedly happening. McConnell is now getting wheeled around in a wheelchair when he goes to the airport. He's fallen multiple times this year. And this was him the last time he froze up.
The This week has been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Are you good, Mitch?
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
It's John Thune there on the
So
left.
this is the, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of the IRA. And of course,
The reason I mentioned that is because he's likely seen as the person who would step in as a replacement for McConnell. He's already taken over some responsibilities. You've got here talk about aides for McConnell, not disclosing whether McConnell has sought any kind of physician assistance or any kind of screening, which is ridiculous. It should obviously be done. John Thune is currently the minority whip. He's seen as the number 4 in power. And this, it's a big deal. That's after Democrat leadership, Democrat whip, and then you've got the Republican leadership, McConnell, and then the Republican whip. Anyway, McConnell had polio as a child. I don't know if that has any lingering effects. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but there's a thesis here that potentially this could be an onset of dementia, that this could also be some kind of result of a smaller stroke or something like that. Obviously, there's something wrong, and now that it's recurring, it's clearly becoming time probably for Mitch McConnell to retire, especially if these are not just isolated instances when they occur in public, but if this kind of stuff is happening in office as well, when you're, expected to perform under your duties, or like what's happening with Diane Feinstein, where basically other people have to vote for them, that's just where, that should be a clear sign. That could be a test right there alone. How about if you're not capable of voting because you need somebody else to help you speak? You can't be in office. That might be a simple rule that could solve all of this. So worth keeping this in mind. This is some of the latest that's gone on here and gives you some of the footage so you can see it with your own eyes. Some of my thoughts on it. If you found it helpful, consider subscribing. Expiring coupon code tomorrow. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Which I say yes, meet Kevin.
Where does this mean we are in the economic cycle? Should we be thinking about buying real estate? Should we be thinking about buying stocks? I have a background in real estate as a real estate agent, real estate broker, real estate investor, a stock market investor, and fund manager.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here?
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Always great to have you on. Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber, Meet Kev.